One topic I want to break out to the people here and our panel is, I think, a very important topic, and that is what can be done, or what are your ideas to prevent bullying? Top of your list. I want people to really contribute on this, because I think this is the most important question, and Andy, I'm going to start with you. First.
Well, I mean, I think Lena just gave a great example of what can be done. And if more kids in the schools were reaching out with the sensitivity and the courage, I guess it really doesn't take courage for you because it's in your character, but for some it would take courage. So I think, peer-to-peer is what bullying is about. So peer-to-peer really has to be a part of the solution. In addition to that, I think there's different kinds of bullying. There's physical bullying, there's emotional bullying, there's relational exclusion, and there's cyberbullying. So there's many different levels that have to be addressed. And I think certainly the amount of time that people spend on social media, and not kids in particular, because I think it's adults as well. As somebody said earlier, that there's no respite, that it's 24/7, and when you have no respite, then there's no escape. And so I think taking a break from social media is certainly one of the answers. But I think there needs to be more adults in the schools, more adults in the community, and more peers who are available to respond to the situations that they see right before them. How they respond to those situations are also critical. You don't want to single out in public necessarily a child who's being bullied, which would just exacerbate that kind of a situation. So there has to be training within the school, certainly with groups that are being formed in a community such as yours. You're looking very carefully at how to address the situation. Certainly with programs like yours, you're looking for places that referrals can be made in a confidential way so that somebody's able to get the help that they want. So it's a multifaceted problem, and it does involve the whole community.
Absolutely. Steve, you want to expand on preventing bullying? And anyone else, please feel free, because this really is the most critical aspect. Is we want to hear your thoughts and what you feel is the most important aspects of preventing bullying.
I've been surprised over the last number of months how many friends we're talking 40 years ago that were bullied and remember vividly their bullying, who bullied them, what happened. So if you think that because somebody is in school now, there's less remembrance than somebody has 2 kids and that's 50. It's not the case. It's in their mind for a long time. One of the things that maybe we'll be able to help is by bringing out some people who would talk to the kids and say, I went through it. It wasn't easy, but I now have a family, I have a job, good things have came, but there are scars and they don't heal for some people, and that's a horrible situation that we have to deal with. I think we have to be the ones to police, because unfortunately with politics or be it with schools, they're not always right. And I think when it comes to our kids, we know what our kids need, and we know what's happening to our kids. And unfortunately, there's rules and regulations and sometimes they need to be adjusted. They need to be, I guess, broken and, restarted. And, a group like we see forming in front of us is definitely a step forward. It's about caring. And also, what we on a daily basis go through as a society is I'm mystified how we look at each other, how different we are. You can't go on social media and not see this one is for this campaign, this one is voting for this person, and you're not even wanting to discuss it, and it's going on. So there are differences that are being pointed out among the presidential campaign, which is, just abominable. But beyond that, I mean, when it comes to the kids, we're all different. As kids, we were different, and the kids these days are different. They all have different likes. Some like, this music or that music. Some are into sports, some aren't. But the whole thing we need to bring about is let's let them know that we're people, that we're human, that we have things in common, and that we can help each other, and that we could learn from elders, which is something that, we respect our elders at my age, and that seems not as much, these days with the society, but hopefully we could bring it back, that we've been through a lot at our age, and we can be there for our kids to help them, and hopefully they'll listen to us, because we've been through a lot, So I guess my hope is that organizations like this can bring together the community, the kids, the feelings, and show them there was hurt years ago, there is hurt today, and I hope I'm speaking, correctly for Julie. She at this point is, contemplating how she wants to portray a wonderful, talented son in Brendan, maybe with a movie or whatever. And if she does, that would be something amazing for kids to see about someone so talented, and how bullying can change lives of such wonderful people as I've met with the Cars, and let's hope for change and pray for change.
If I could just add one thing, I think what the community group is here is trying to do, and what's so critical as a sort of umbrella in terms of addressing bullying and preventing it, is that what all kids need is they need safe places to go, they need worthwhile things to do, they need a sense of belonging, they need to have a sense of competence and mastery, and they need to have relationships with caring adults. So I think as an umbrella, that's something that if we can all commit to, whether we're working in a school, or we're part of a community, or we're living in a family, I think that can make a difference.
Absolutely. And Thomasina, I commend you for the group. I was privileged to be attending it the other day, and I know you have some thoughts about preventing bullying, and because we heard some, and after this, I want to bring up a really good idea. I think a very important topic to talk about bullying. But let's stay on preventing bullying for right now.
Some of the ideas that have been brought up, and this from like kids, my kids have discussed it with me. They're a little shy; they don't want to talk. But, it's just kind of like the mentoring program that we just were talking about before, but also just like if you see somebody sitting alone, sitting with them, talking to them. If you see somebody playing by themselves on the playground, going up and talking to them, and just starting a conversation, a simple hello. Sometimes that's the only thing that you could do to break the ice, and it makes a big difference in that person that's alone. It makes a big difference in their life. But also the kids getting involved and just not letting it happen anymore. I think a lot of the times kids are afraid to stand up because of the consequences. Maybe it's somebody that's really tough and like, has a reputation of beating everybody up, the kids are afraid to say something. And that's part of why the community needs to be involved as well, is because they shouldn't feel afraid, and they should be able to stand up for somebody. And I don't know if it's okay if I share Devin and Christian's story. My son was best friends with Michelle's son, and he was getting bullied in school, and there was a kid that was constantly picking on Christian, and Devin decided to stand up. He had enough, and he got in trouble for it in school, but he didn't get in trouble at home. And the reason why he didn't get in trouble at home is because, he stood up. He didn't physically hurt anybody. It wasn't anything, he just kind of stood up to the kid that was bullying his best friend after countless attempts with the school not doing anything. And, I think it stopped, right? But, that's the consequences that these kids are facing. If they do the right thing, they're penalized in school, or, it's not the right thing to do, so to speak. But if you do it in a non-violent manner, I always teach my kids, if you dish it out, don't dish it out if you can't take it in. But that's the problem. Some of these kids just keep giving and giving and giving, and they don't know when to stop. And some kids, I believe when you were up there was saying earlier, it's either they're physically stronger or their popularity status. But a lot of the times they're mentally stronger, and some kids don't know how to stand up for themselves. And some kids are insecure, they don't feel good about themselves, and they're not strong enough to say, I had enough, leave me alone, or or really do something. So that's what the mentoring program kind of would come into play. Back to my situation when I was a kid, I was a nerd. I was a student I was a role model student. I got hundreds on all my tests. I always did my homework. But I was picked on for that. And I was a scrawny little girl, and I was an easy target. And my name's Thomasina. I mean, think about it. It's easy to pick on that. And so that's what happened with me. But finally, I got strong enough that I had enough, and I stood up to my bully. And I have to, you were saying before, the scars don't heal. The scars don't heal. They don't go away. That's something that I live with, and I suppress the feelings. I don't deal with it on a daily basis. I don't watch certain news channels because the person that bullied me is on the news. And seeing her brings those days back to me. And even after all these years, this is going back 25, almost 30 years now, that this happened to me, and I still feel the same pain that I did when it was going on every time I see her face. So it's something that you can survive and you can get through it, and it takes a long time, and I don't walk around with my head down saying, oh, I was bullied. I got past it, but the feelings that I feel are still there. So I think what we need to do is build the kids up and make them feel better about themselves, and kind of like a pay it forward type of program where their kindness and compassion and empathy is to bring humanity back. And that's what we're lacking, and it's all due to technology. I mean, there's no face-to-face conversations anymore. These kids don't know how to hold a conversation. And so taking that away and bringing humanity back, and face-to-face and dialogue and just simple conversations with people, I think that's one way to stop it.